Hey guys, Everett Dudgeon 138 here. Today I want to talk about the Prophet 5 presets that were recreated by John Bowen for the Prophet 6. I can't think of a video on YouTube that actually goes through them. And I think a lot of the classic synth sounds that we hear on records with the Prophet 5 are actually just slight tweaks of these factory presets. A gentleman by the name of Marcus V. Warner, I'll link his channel in the description, suggested a method to me because, as I said in my previous video, a lot of the criticisms of the Prophet 6 were that it sounded harsh. So there is some gain staging in all DSI synths. I clarified that with DSI. And as in my previous video, I said back the oscillators off to 50%, back the envelope amount to 50% and turn up the master volume. But I found that also brings in a little bit of noise. So so Marcus V. Warner suggested that just backing the filter envelope, the filter cutoff, backing off it a little bit, it actually warms the sound up. And I noticed with the Prophet 5 presets in the Prophet 6, John Bowen never once had the filter all the way open. Even sounds that you would expect to have the filter wide open, it's not. It's generally around 3 o'clock or 2 o'clock. It's never really wide open. So I want to go through these one at a time. There's 40 of them. And I want to talk also about where I first heard these sounds. My background is film soundtracks. And I can tell you John Harrison's score for Creepshow, Tim Croak's score for The Boogeyman, maybe John Scott's score for Inseminoid. I know Howard Shore's score for Scanners. All use the Prophet 5 presets, and they're in here. Just maybe a couple of slight modifications. And even stuff like Phil Collins' In the Air Tonight. There's some patches on here in the Prophet 5 preset bank, which is starting at 411. That's the... I actually copied all the patches and moved them up to the first couple banks for myself. But I want to go through them just how they are right out of the box with the Prophet 6. That way you guys can follow along a little bit easier. And I'm going to start with this really soft brass patch. Really nice. It's a really nice warm sound. John Bowen did program Aftertouch. I don't believe Aftertouch was a thing on the original Prophet 5, but it's on here. You can turn it off if you want, but I think it sounds good. 412. I'm almost positive I've heard that in Creepshow before. $413. Kind of like a clavinet type sound. Really, really nice. 414. Almost like a piano. I know Alan Howarth programmed his own patches on the Prophet 5 for the John Carpenter scores, but even still, I think this sounds pretty good. Yeah, sounds pretty good. 415. I know I've heard that in Howard Shore's score for Scanners, and I'm pretty sure I heard that in Creepshow as well. I'll try and find examples from those soundtracks and put them in through this video just to kind of show you a little bit of a comparison. I think that might have been 416. That sounds good. I'm pretty, like I said, John Harrison's score for Creepshow only used a Steinway grand piano and a Prophet 5, and I think maybe a choir as well, but that score is almost a demo of all the original Prophet 5 presets, because I'm hearing sounds from the Crate segment, Father's Day segment, so they're all in here. 417. Nice sync sound. That sounded a little bit like John Scott's Inseminoid. 418. Nice. Almost like a vibraphone. Turning on the arpeggiator. I think with a little bit of tweaking, it almost sounds like the 69th Street Bridge from Escape from New York. Right, so 421, let's see what we got. I know that was in Creepshow. I'm almost positive it's in the... Yeah, it's in Something to Tide You Over. There's definitely a string sound in here that's exactly spot on. I don't think John Harrison did a lot of programming, to be honest, but yeah, it sounds nice. And again, even with that sound, the filter is not all the way open. So even if it were, that's all the way open. So yeah, he definitely used that for Something to Tide You Over. Really nice. 422. Really nice, almost like an accordion. 423. Organ, obviously. And what I found with the organ, I believe it's this one. Is it this one? Yeah, when you back the amplifier envelope attack, it sounds almost like a choir. Extend the release a little bit. 424. Wow, really nice. Put some pulse width modulation via the mod wheel. It's all very subtle. Like the Prophet 5 patches were sometimes very, very subtle because originally it was meant to emulate other instruments, whether it's a piano, an organ, brass. It wasn't really meant to do sci-fi sounds or anything like that. And Mr. Bowen also programmed effects, but he turned them off because the original Prophet 5 had no built-in effects. But you can turn them on. It's usually Coarse and Hall seem to be the popular ones with his patches. Wow, really pretty. I really like that one. And we're off to 425. See what we got. Ah, this one. This is a special one. So you can hear it's almost like a brass string patch, but there is a little bit of a swell. But I found when you turn the filter envelope attack to 0, it can sound something like this. Turn the filter down a little bit. Whoops. And you can extend the release on that a little bit. So, as I said, I don't think when people got the Prophet 5, I think they used the presets as a base. I don't really think they created a lot of patches from scratch. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure Mr. Phil Collins used this patch, which is... yeah, it's the 25th preset in the original Prophet 5. And by default, again, Chorus and Hall, which you can't have in the air tonight without chorus, but... maybe extend the amplifier release a little bit. Very, very nice. Very nice. And so the original Prophet 5 didn't have... I don't believe it had a sub-oscillator in it. So none of these patches really utilize the sub-oscillator at all. But even still, I think it sounds pretty good. I'm going to go to 426. Let's see what we got. Wow. So it's almost like it's a brass patch, but it has some polymod going on as well. I'm sure a lot of bands use that as well. Really nice. Really nice. 427. Let's see what we got. It's almost like a accordion. Ah, really nice. 428. Ah, this one. This one is special. So, again, John Harrison used the Prophet 5 for Creepshow, and also Joseph LaDuca used, I think I'm pronouncing that right, used it for the original Evil Dead soundtrack, which was recorded with a small string orchestra and a rented Prophet 5. And the Prophet 5 in that score actually used, it was more used as brass to complement the strings, but this patch, which is like a fifth brass patch, yeah, he definitely did a riff like that in the Evil Dead, I remember. Something like that. But even still, when John Harrison did a score for Day of the Dead, for that he used a Kurzweil K250, Yamaha DX7, and a Prophet 5. And I'm sure he used this, add a little bit of slop to it, put some chorus and bucket brigade delay. I can't remember how he did that riff. It's like... Yeah, I'm almost positive he used that patch. I think a lot of people did. It's a great sounding patch. It's just massive sounding. Again, filter's not all the way. Neither is, and there's no sub oscillator, but so that's really, really powerful. I'll turn the filter all the way up just so you hear the difference, but yeah, see? So, let me just see here. So, yeah, even the filter's all the way down. The envelope amount's just barely at 3 o'clock for this one. Even lower. So, yeah, Marcus V. Warner's right. Backing the filter off a little bit definitely does sound like a Prophet 5. Okay, 431. Let's see what we got. Very nice flute sound. 432. This, like I said, was definitely used in Creepshow. I recall vividly hearing that in the Something to Tide You Over segment. $433. This one's really nice. Wow. And if you bring up the mod wheel, it's just adding a slight frequency modulation. Put in chorus. Wow, really nice. Really nice. All right. 434. This one is definitely used in the Something to Tide You Over segment. I'm almost positive Yeah, that's definitely it. And even when you bring up the mod wheel, I recall vividly that happening in that soundtrack. What's happening is the pulse width is being modulated to a pulse width of 0. That's why you have that in and out cutting. Really, really nice. One of my favorite patches. 435. Let's see what we got. Now this is interesting. As I said, Marcus V. Warner really, yeah, I think he has a valid point. When you back the cutoff, the frequency of the low pass filter, back it off a bit, it does have a warmer sound. This is where it's, I'll just play one note, that way you can hear it easier. This is the cutoff all the way open. Now, Mr. Bowen's patch. Totally different. That sounds amazing. Very, very nice. 436. Let's see what we got. Nice. 437. This is interesting. I'm terrible at negative envelopes. I really want to learn how to do them properly. But what's happening is when I take my hand off the keyboard, it's triggering a sound. And it almost sounds like a pipe organ in a way. I like that a lot. 38. Absolutely love this one. This is the exact patch that was used by Howard Shore for Scanners. Scanners used a real orchestra, but Mr. Shore also used an ARP 2600 and a Prophet 5 for all the synth sounds. And I love those scores where it mixes orchestral and synth sounds together. Oh, it's beautiful. It's one of my favorites. This one, that's the riff. That's actually the riff from Scanners too. But basically what's happening is polymod's affecting the filter, which is being modulated by oscillator 2. So all these modulations are happening at different rates, as you can hear. Some are going slower, some are going faster, depending on what key you press. It's not like an LFO where it's going constantly. Fiddling with the fine tune. Yeah, a bit. I think he just fiddled with the fine tune a bit, and this is Scanners. I think if I extend the filter release and the amplifier release, this is also another riff from Scanners. Love it. Absolutely love it. Oh, it's so good. 441. Let's see what we got. It's like a pad with a long release. Maybe this one was the one that Mr. Collins used. For 41. Put some. Because that's actually a factory polysequence program, so they must be hinting at something. Very nice. Personally, I think it was number 23, whatever one I demonstrated in the air tonight. I think that one sounded a little bit better, but maybe this was it. I don't think the release was that long on the original, but still, really nice sound. You could just do. And again, that's where the pulse width is going into a pulse width of 0. Sounds really nice. 442. A nice sharp attack with a long release. Nice. Really nice. Has a nice sync sound going on there. Really like it. And again, the filter is not all the way open. So, let's see if I can. So that's the filter all the way open. It's very subtle. But you can hear it's almost a little bit more nasally sounding. Seems to be I guess more fizzy when you open the filter. Still really nice. 443. Let's see what we got. This one is used in the crate segment of Creepshow. I remember it's exactly where the janitor sees Fluffy the monster in the crate and sees its eyes and tries to reach in and gets his arm bitten off. Really cool. And like I said, I'm going to try and put some sound examples from those soundtracks, so that way you guys can kind of get a gauge of how accurate these are. And I got to be honest, Mr. Bowen did a fantastic job, which of course he would. He authored the original ones and worked with Dave Smith very closely. On a side note, I would love to see John Bowen and Dave Smith do a collaboration on a synth. John Bowen made a fantastic synth on his own called the Solaris, an absolutely beautiful piece of machinery. Unfortunately, I'd never had the pleasure of playing one, but I would love to see I would love to see the Prophet VS waves. I know he licensed like 100-something waves from Waldorf and put it in the Solaris, but I would just love those two guys to get together and create like the ultimate digital analog hybrid. I think it'd be just breathtaking. But yeah, this is Fluffy's pad. That's what I call it. Really nice. $444. Sounds like a sounds really nice. Long release. Going at the effects are now a phaser and a hall. Definitely use that in a composition. And I've actually started to use these presets more and more in my compositions. I have nothing against programming, but there's something about using the original Prophet 5 sounds in a composition that just give it, I don't know, a certain sense of legacy, a certain capturing a moment in time. I can't really word it properly, but it's really, really nice. And this is 445. Oh, again, another Creepshow one. Yeah, John Harrison definitely used that. I can't remember what track, but I know I've heard it before. Amazing. 446. This one's interesting. It's almost like a pulse. You can, and that's done with a LFO. The speed of the LFO is being controlled by the mod wheel. Put a phaser. That's so bizarre. I'm sure Mr. Shore also used that for scanners. Has a really long release too, so it just keeps going. But that's so bizarre. I'm sure, like I said, I've heard that in scanners too. I'm sure it was a lot faster. Let's see if I can try and get it a little bit faster here. It's actually not done with the LFO. It's actually done with... It's actually done with Polymod on Oscillator 2, which is being used as a low-frequency oscillator. Yeah, I'm sure that was in scanners when they're yeah, almost positive. I think that was done when I think that might have been done when they're actually doing the scanning with they have like a really bizarre ARP drone going on as well. Really like it. 447, let's see what we got. Again, almost positive this one was used in Creepshow as well. Might have been... It's either in the Father's Day segment or the Lonesome Death of Jordy Vero. Actually, you know what? I actually think it's not... It was actually in the They're Creeping Up on You. I'm almost positive. Yeah, it definitely was. There's something creeping, or They're Creeping Up on You segment. Really, really nice. Really nice gurgling sound. I think Danny, I'm not sure I pronounce his last name, Danny Zeltlin, who did the Invasion of the Body Snatchers score, the 70s remake version. I know he scored it with an orchestra, but he also used a Prophet 10, a single keyboard, Prophet 10, and he often used like gurgling sounds or bubbly sounds. I tried to duplicate it on a couple patches, but I'll talk about that in another video. 448. Bells. I really like that one. Really like that one a lot. 451. I think that was also used in Jay Chataway's score for Maniac. I believe it's Peter Levin that did the keys on that one. The synths on that were like a 6-voice Oberheim, a Mini Moog, Prophet 5, although Jay Chataway wasn't sure that it made it on the score. He knows he used an Oberheim, but Prophet 5 just might have been in the studio at the time. They might have used that, but I recognize that sound from Maniac. Really, really nice. Really menacing. Put a small phaser on it. See what sequence we got. I mean, you can easily use that as like a drone in the background. But yeah, as I was saying, was not sure if the Prophet 5 was used in Maniac, but I think that sound also was in Creepshow. I mean, almost all these sounds were. But yeah, pretty cool. 452. Yep, the Boogeyman. All right, Tim Krogh used this for like a wind effect, and you can often hear a lot of the Prophet 5 presets in that score. I know he also used an Oberheim 8 voice. We're not talking like an OBXA. We're talking an SEM 8 voice, so it's just massive modular. And a Mini Moog, and I think he used a Krumar orchestrator as well. I did a cover of the score, and I restricted myself to using the Prophet 5 patches on the Prophet 6, and I definitely use this one. Really, really like it. Could easily use that in any type of sound effect or whatnot, but really, really like it. Love, you can just picture it in like a winter type. And bringing in the mod wheel brings up the filter modulation, so it gives that nice like wind scream. Really, really nice. Love it. Okay, let's see what we got for 453. Another Boogeyman patch. This one also, I believe, was used for by Tangerine Dream on their album Exit. They had obviously a plethora of other synths, but I recognize this one as well. But yeah, this was definitely used for the Boogeyman. You can hear it in my cover as well, which I'll link in the description. Really like that one. Really evil sounding. 454. Really like that one. It'd be great for like any type of effect. I think it was also used in. I think it might have also been used in the Unhinged score. I know the synths on that were like, Oberheim 4 voice, Prophet 5, Mini Moog, Oberheim DMX drum machine, ARP 2600. Had like a Roland. One of those Roland MC MIDI groove boxes, sequencing everything. But I kind of recall hearing something similar during the Scythe attack. Really nice. Cool. 55. That is a drone, ladies and gentlemen. That is a drone. You can put a phaser on there. But listen to the bass on that. Ooh. That's special, man. It's got glide and unison, really slow glide. So it's perfect for like just doing that definitely was a Maniac. I don't care what anyone says, that is definitely in Maniac. I believe the track's called Apocalypse New York. vividly recall that. It's Absolutely beautiful. Love it. 456. See what we got. Ooh. Not familiar with this one, but the mod wheel really likes it. Whoa! Oh, man. Cool. 457. Nice kind of... You bring the mod wheel up, it spreads it out if you listen. That's down. And the middle sounds nice. Oh, really nice. Really nice. And the last one, 458. I know what this one is. Sounds like a choir or cats or something. Yeah, definitely more of an effect, but I like it. So yeah, that's all the Prophet 5 patches in the Prophet 6. So there's 40 of them in total. They start at patch number 411, in case you're wondering. I think there was only 40 patches in the original Prophet 5, so it makes perfect sense. I personally just copied them, moved them all the way up to the front. So they're the first patches that I play. And like I said, I started to use them more and more in my compositions because, like I said, it's nice to have that type of classic sound. But yeah, I think John Bowen did an excellent job on these, and I'm gonna link Marcus V. Warner's channel in the description, as well as a couple other soundtracks and everything that you can hear these classic sounds. And yeah, if you enjoy this video, please subscribe, and I will see you guys later.